Yo, boys and girls, what is going on? And welcome back to our next video. Richard the Guru here, and welcome to 2018. Happy New Year. We are kicking it off with our NFL playoff predictions and review for how I did in my predictions this season. I'll post my link to that video in the description. I made it back in like September. Anyway, we went 5 for 12 in the teams that made the playoffs. It could have been 6 for 12, but Baltimore fucked it up yesterday, and Buffalo made it in instead of them. We got all the division winners wrong in the NFC, which is odd. I usually get at least one in both, but we got a bunch of division winners wrong. So we got 5 overall, 3 from the AFC, 2 from the NFC. We'll do a quick breakdown of the standings, and then we'll make our wild card predictions. Tomorrow, I will be posting our divisional predictions, then the conference championship and Super Bowl predictions will be the day after that. So here we go. Wildcard Weekend. First, the standings from the AFC. Pittsburgh and New England, 2 and 1 respectively, have the byes for the AFC. And in the NFC, Philadelphia and Minnesota, 1 and 2 respectively, have the byes. Now, all 4 of these teams had amazing seasons. Both of them finished with good records. I still think the Calvin Johnson rule fucked Pittsburgh out of the number 1 seed. So it was called correctly, but it's still a flawed rule. I made another video on that. I can post that in the description for you guys as well, if you don't know what that is. And it cost Pittsburgh the number 1 seed. In hindsight, the only thing it's going to really cost them is if they make it to the Super Bowl or they make it to the AFC Championship, is home field advantage. That's big, of course, but it's the only real thing it's going to cost them. Okay, now the wild card games. In the AFC, we have number 3 seeded Jacksonville playing Buffalo, number 6. Then we have Kansas City, number 4, playing Tennessee Titans, number 5. Now, these teams are somewhat surprises. I had Baltimore and Oakland in as well instead of them, but lo and behold, that's how it's going to break down this year. Then in the NFC, we have the Los Angeles Rams, a big surprise this year. I thought they'd be better after a 7-9 season last year. I thought maybe they'd go 9-7, but they won 11-5 and took the 3 seed. They had a good year. Then the New Orleans Saints, behind a rebound year from Drew Brees, took the 4 seed at 11-5 as well. Then you have Carolina taking the 5 seed, falling short in the division to New Orleans, and then Atlanta scraping up the 6th seed and making it back into the playoffs. Alright, so first game, Buffalo and Jacksonville. I am picking Jacksonville in this game for one reason, and that is because LaShawn McCoy yesterday, if you saw the highlights for that game, he was carted off the field. Now, I don't know offhand what the severity of his injury is, because I didn't watch that game. I only saw the highlights of him being carted off. I'd have to go and look, and I don't think they've released an official report yet of the injury. But there is a chance him being carted off, there's a chance he won't play in the wild card game. And without McCoy, the Bills don't have a big running game. They've got Taylor and they got a couple of so-so backups, but McCoy takes away a huge dimension of their offense. And without it, it's going to be hard for them to really move the ball up and down the field consistently. So I do think that Jacksonville, that does have a decent defense, will capitalize on that, and they will win the game because of that. So I have Jacksonville moving on to the divisional round. Then we have Kansas City and Tennessee. This year, Kansas City was a bit of a surprise in the fact that they were 5-0, and then they just shit a brick and went 5-6 to end the year. So they still ended up with a good year. 10-6, made the playoffs, won their division, which still is a bit of a shock that their division was almost so shit this year. And then Tennessee was another surprise this year. Marcus Mariota had a good season. They went 9-7, and they made it to the playoffs as their division. No, not as the division winner. Take that back. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I do think Kansas City wins this game just because I think Kansas City is more experienced. They have playoff experience. Tennessee, there isn't many players on that roster that have any deep playoff experience. Mariota, it'll be his first time. And for any player to be a first time, especially a quarterback, to be a first-time playoff player, you're going to either rise up to the challenge or you're going to kind of screw up a bit your first time, which you don't see as many rise up to the challenge. I think he'll play well, but I don't think he'll play well enough against a stout Chiefs defense. So I do think the Chiefs will move on to the divisional round. So how that's going to set up for the divisional round video I'm doing tomorrow, you'll have New England and Kansas City and Pittsburgh and Jacksonville. All right, now we'll quickly jump to the NFC, where we got our first game, the 3-seeded Rams playing the 6-seeded Falcons. Now, this is a game where you have, of course, the defending NFC champions, the Falcons, playing against an unexperienced playoff team who has been hot all season. And I hate saying that the Rams might lose this game, but there is a high possibility that they do lose this game. Despite the fact that, Atlanta is the wild card, they are still one of the best teams in football. They have one of the best high-powered offenses in football this year. Their defense is still good. So I do think Atlanta's going to steal this game away from the Rams. The Rams, despite a great season, I think they just got matched up with the wrong team, to be frank. Atlanta, who is hungry for revenge from their embarrassing Super Bowl collapse last year, they're out for revenge, and I think they're going to get it at this point. There isn't going to be much that stands in their way. So Atlanta will be beating the Los Angeles Rams and moving on to the divisional round. Then we get the Saints and the Panthers. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. Division matchup. Both teams have the same record, but New Orleans won based on a head-to-head win percentage this year. So it's hard to pick. I want to say I think the Panthers might take it, just because it's a hard decision, but I think the Panthers will just edge out the Saints. Just. It's going to be a high-scoring, close affair. I wouldn't be surprised to see it at like 36-33, something like that, or even maybe a touch higher. Despite both good defenses, it's going to be an offensive shootout. So I will pick Carolina to win over the Saints, meaning that we will have the Eagles and the Falcons and the Vikings and the Panthers for our divisional matchups. All right, guys, please let me know what you thought of my predictions for this upcoming Wildcard Weekend matchups. And I really hope you all had a great 2017 and a great start to 2018. Have a great day, everyone. As always, like, subscribe, comment below. Tell me what you think. I always want to hear it, whether it's good, bad, I don't care. I want to hear from you guys and what you think. So have a great day. I will probably be posting another video or two throughout the day, probably on the playoffs that start today in college football. So I'll probably be throwing up a video later for that. And I might do another speculation video in baseball today. It's a maybe, but it's a big football week this week. So it'll be a lot of football coverage. Alright guys, Richard the Guru here signing off. Peace, have a wonderful day, and Happy New Year.